and welcome to Raw. I'm Alex.
And I'm Matt, and these two magnificent beasts behind us are Manyara and Zambezi, two of the 16 black rhino that live here at the Howletts and Port Lympne Wild Animal Parks.
Yes, they're part of a hugely successful breeding programme, and in fact the parks have the largest herd of black rhino outside of Africa, which is a real achievement for such an endangered species.
And we'll be finding out loads more about the black rhino throughout the series. But first, here's what's coming up on today's programme.
We'll find out who's just afraid of the big bad wolf.
One of the park's most important breeding rhinos has a serious foot infection. Is she on her last legs, or can the team find a way to save her before it's too late?
And we'll find out the answers to some very important questions.
Who Gwyneth's fart?
Here at the drill enclosure, we've got some exciting news. One of the older females has given birth to a beautiful baby girl. This is fantastic, since there are only 3,000 drills left in the wild and 50 in zoos worldwide, including these in the park's family group. Head of primates Simon Jeffrey is so overjoyed you'd think he was the proud father. Naturally, he's on hand to do the introductions.
Well, these are drills. These are an incredibly rare monkey. These are what's known as a forest baboon. And the best news that we've had is that we actually have a new baby in the group. The mum's just at the back there with the baby on, and that's the first baby born in this country in 40 years. It's a little female, which is even better because it means there's more breeding potential for the future. It's about 4 weeks old. As you can see, it's still, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got still a very pink face, which will turn sort of grey later on in life.
Sadly, drills are on the verge of extinction in the wild, and it's all because of us humans.
They're hunted for bushmeat and stuff because of being such a big animal, and there's also a lot of mining that happens in the area in Africa where they come from, around Nigeria and stuff. Because the miners there mining in their area, the deforestation, that's being destroyed, and then they're also sort of, you know, shooting these monkeys to eat because they're a big monkey that are easy to kind of like see and get hold of, really.
So now you can understand why Simon's so pleased. The new arrival bumps the family numbers to a grand total of 6. Mum Babundi and the new baby, her daughters Abuya and Kaduna, young male Kasolo, and Dad Gorby.
Dad's been fine. I mean, with most sort of males in a lot of these sort of situations, they ain't that interested. They'll come along, they'll look, and they will. I have seen him play with some of the youngsters, but not with the new baby yet.
Drills love a crowd, preferably of about 20 or so. They're social animals who live in troops made up of females, their babies, and one large dominant male. Male drills are impressive. They can grow to twice the size of the females, and when threatened, they can have quite a temper. I don't know about you, but would you want to mess with something that looks like that? Thought not. They also have bright-coloured bums, which get even brighter when they're ready to mate. These colourful backsides also come in handy when the troop is on the move, as they help the group follow the male through the thick forest. A bit like the rear lights on a car.
Today we're giving them a scatter feed of mealworms. It's good protein for them. They like to search for them through the wood chip and stuff, keeps them occupied. Otherwise they have fruit and veg. They have a good varied diet that we try and sort of change daily. The infant will still be suckling off the mum, be on milk still. And probably starting to like mouth at food and take certain little tiny bits in, but won't be eaten 100% solid yet at all. Be about another at least 2-3 months before it's taken in solids properly.
The fact that numbers are so low worldwide means that the family here is vital to the survival of the species.
We've only had these drills for about a year, so to have a successful birth here in the first year is fantastic. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, these are the only group of drills in the entirety of the UK, so I mean, it's just fantastic to even have them here. The next thing for the baby is now we found out that she's female, we get to name her. We're going to try and pick somewhere sort of in Africa where they come from, in Nigeria, because the others are named after places in there as well. We have Abuya and Kaduna and Kasalo, and they're all sort of places that are around the area. So hopefully it'll be me who gets to name her, because these are our pride and joy at the moment.
This new birth and the success of the family group are a dream come true for keeper Simon.
Yeah, I've been waiting for these for years. I mean, these have been on our wish list for about the last 8 years, really. I mean, these are incredibly important animals, incredibly spectacular and incredibly rare, so it's nice to be part of, like, breeding these animals, really.
Jim Vassy is head of big cats at the park, and that's a bigger job than you might think. Because when he's not giving the tigers their dinner, he also looks after all the dogs. From the Asian doles to these two big bad Canadian timber wolves.
I'm just bringing their fresh food in for today, and then I shall just take a quick wander around and pick any bones up from their last feed, because they tend to take the feed sometimes underground.
One of the largest of all dogs in the wild, these wolves are found living in the forests of North America and Canada.
I'm going to go around the front there, so if you want to come around, then, because the wolf will come over the top and run around that way, all right? We don't particularly want to corner him.
Wolves hunt for their prey in packs, often chasing animals like deer and moose that are 10 times their weight. They may not be the quickest runners, but their teamwork and stamina make them very successful killers.
Their jaws are so strong because they have to grab their prey if it's in motion and hold on to it and even pull it down for the rest of the pack to get in and, feed on it.
A wolf's bite is 5 to 10 times stronger than a domestic dog, and their sense of smell is phenomenal, 100 times more sensitive than ours.
At the end of the day, they're a wild animal, and if you just look behind you, look, there's one just showing himself through the bushes there. So, you have to be careful, because though, you might not think they're there, but they're always watching. And they'll always be a couple of paces behind you, lurking, ready to spring their trap if they have to.
We used to have wolves like these in Britain, but they were hunted to extinction by 1743 because they were a threat to farm animals. The British wolf would have looked and lived very much like these wolves.
Because they live in a big family group, which is called a pack, there's usually only one alpha male and alpha female of that breed. And once they've mated and, she's ready to give birth, they tend to dig underground dens. And here's a good example of one. Sometimes they dig one and it'll go into another. Because normally in the wild, when they go hunting, if there's any pups, then one or two, of the younger wolves will stay behind and watch the den. And then when the pack comes back after a hunt, they will regurgitate to the wolves that have stayed behind, and obviously then feed the pups as well by regurgitating the food.
Most dogs that are kept as pets today have descended from wild canines like these wolves. But don't be mistaken, these guys don't play fetch or want their tummy rubbed.
But, people come in, they can see the resemblance to the dog they've got at home, maybe a German Shepherd or something like that, because they do look like wolves. But obviously wolves are taller in the leg, and obviously a bit more fierce than a German Shepherd. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to meet a wolf or even a pack of wolves in the wild, because, if they're hungry, then you stand very little chance, because, once they've got a hold of you, you've got no chance.
How do you stop an elephant from charging? Remove its batteries. What is a porcupine's favourite food? Prickle onions.
Where do rabbits go when they get married? On a honeymoon.
Here at the park, they're very lucky to have Javan langurs, a kind of monkey from Indonesia. Like most primates, they're extremely social creatures, but they don't feel all that comfortable around humans and tend, whenever possible, to stay well away. But keeper Ernie Thetford knows all the secrets to putting them at ease.
Hi, Ernie. Is it all right to come in?
Yeah, certainly. Come in.
It's great to see you.
Yeah.
I've come over to the Javan Langur enclosure. Hello. This is keeper Ernie Thetford, and it's feed time. She just did a little grab at me then. Is she not happy with me being here? That's why I gave her a little bit of food.
Doesn't seem to be.
Here we go, here we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's it.
So these are wonderful little creatures. Is the clue in their name? Are they from Java?
They are indeed, yes. Javan langurs.
They're having a little squeak and pushing each other around a bit. Is that sort of competition for the food?
Yeah, there's that's the adult male there. He's just making sure he's got his own space and his own amount of food. Yeah.
Yeah. They're different colours. Are they all actually the same species, or?
It is the same species. Yes, they come in two different colour forms: the brown and the black. There's just very much like people have a different hair colour. You know, you might have ginger hair and you might have black hair, sort of thing.
Oh, I see.
It's only one or t'other. It's not a never a mixture.
And just over there's a little baby who's yet another colour, really.
Yes, when they're first born, they're apricot coloured. So they're really bright and intense, kind of apricot teddy bear kind of colour. And then when they're about 2 months old, they start to change to the adult colour. So they either change into black, if they're going to be black as adults,
yes,
or into the brown colour. And this one is now 2 months old and is, you know, made some stages into going black.
Right. And is there any way to tell before they actually turn colour which colour they're going to be?
Usually, when they're first born, although they are apricot, they still have some black on them on the tip of the tail or whatever if they're going to be black, and they're completely apricot if they're going to be brown, as a general rule.
Only I see there's a couple of little babies.
Yeah, they're just at that stage where they're starting to come off mum and explore everything and change their coat colour.
They're both clinging on very tight there. Is that mummy?
It is, yes, but all the females get a chance to carry the infants, and they do what we call ante the infants, and it's a particularly good way for young females to learn motherhood, if you like.
But do they? So they sort of swap around?
That's right, yeah. And the fact they're born brightly apricot colour probably helps in, you know, giving the babies a special kind of appeal and giving them a special sort of status as well. And they know to look after them as infants and not to mistreat them and things like that.
How fascinating. Now, we've given them sort of handfuls of mixed vegetables and, excuse me, some of these pellets.
Leaf eater pellets.
Yeah.
Especially designed for
them,
leaf
are they?
eater monkeys, yes.
There you are, I'll give you that back. Good boy.
Yeah.
We've got some branches in the back here. Does that sort of thing that they'd eat in the wild?
Well, they are leaf-eating monkeys, and they have a special digestive system to be able to cope with digesting the cellulose in the leaves.
Oh, really?
And
because that's very difficult to digest.
It is difficult, and we couldn't digest that if we were to just eat leaves.
Right.
And also they couldn't really cope with fruit and starchy things. So they have to have vegetables, and it's quite a strict diet, and it's a specialised diet.
Well, they look extremely healthy, lovely glossy coats, whichever the colour.
Yeah, they do very well, yes.
Well, they're lovely, lovely things. I know you're a very busy man, so should we give out a little bit more food and then make a move?
Yeah, just finish this off. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your help.
Here you go, guys.
Who hasn't heard of the gorilla? Made famous by movies like King Kong and well loved for being so like us, gorillas are without doubt one of the most popular animals in the park. But how many of us actually know anything about them? Well, to put that situation right, I've gathered together a group of their biggest fans to join me on a fact-finding mission.
We've just arrived at the Palace of the Apes. The gorillas over there have just been fed, and these lot have got all sorts of questions to ask keeper Phil Ridges. Who's first? Who's got a question about the gorillas?
Where do these gorillas come from?
These gorillas are Western lowland gorillas, so they come from Congo and Gabon, which is in central Western Africa.
The big ape, how big does it grow?
Well, adult male gorillas can weigh anything up to 30 stone or more.
30 stone, that's massive.
That's over twice my weight.
Why do they go like this?
It's you usually see adult males chest beating, and they do it usually to rival males, you know, that are in competition with them maybe, and also to females. They do it to impress them. But youngsters do it as well, and they usually do it when they're playing. They usually sort of have a little, you know, chest beat to show that they're very friendly and very happy.
How becomes the chest is so hard?
Well, their chest is slightly different shape to ours. It sort of points out a bit, sticks out a bit more, and it's sort of higher up, sort of comes up here like this. And when they do their chest beat, they cup their hands as well. So they cup it underneath, so that's why you can hear this sort of pocker, pocker, pocker sound.
Why do they smell so much?
Well, they smell so much because gorillas don't have a bath like we do, so they keep their natural smells all the time. and especially the adult males, if they're displaying a lot, like Jala is now, they sweat a lot as well, so that, the sweat makes them smell.
When you say that Jala, he's the dominant male, when you say he's displaying, explain exactly what that is.
Well, he was actually rescued from the wild. He was found tied to an oil drum in a Congolese village, being teased by young children. So when there are groups of children here at the park, he tends to display to them quite a bit, and he does it. He runs up and down and he bangs on the glass. We have a glass front enclosure here. So obviously, especially on a hot day, he's building up a lot of heat and sweating a lot, so that makes him smell.
Yeah, as you're standing here, you sort of get a nice waft of gorilla BO every now and again.
Do gorillas fart?
Yes, gorillas do fart, like people, and they tend to fart a lot more than people as well, because of the food they eat. It tends to produce a lot more gas than most of the food we eat. A lot of gorillas are vegetarian, so they eat a lot more sort of vegetation, which it ferments in their stomach, which means it bubbles away in there, and all this gas has to come out somewhere. It comes out both ends, but quite often it comes out the bottom.
Why is the big ape half black and half white?
The biggest one here is Jala. He's an adult male, and when adult males mature, when young males, I should say, become adult, they develop this silverback. An adult male gorilla is called a silverback. That just shows that he's fully grown now. He's a fully grown male, and he can have young and lead a group like Jala's does now.
Do they grip onto the mother? The babies grip onto the mother when they're first born?
Yeah, infants do that. They've got gorillas are very strong, even from a very young age. When they're born, they have a sort of what's called a reflex action, which is as soon as their hand touches something, they grip on. So yeah, they do, and they're supported by mum as well, but they grip onto their hair.
How strong are they compared to humans?
Well, they're supposed to be about 8 to 10 times stronger than humans. Gorilla. Wow. That's an adult male gorilla, and they're very, very strong.
So that's why Jala, when he decides he's going to throw something in our direction, it goes quite far.
Yes. Thankfully, he's not always that accurate. So. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing up here, I don't think, if he was.
Thanks very much, Phil. You certainly seem to know your stuff. We'll be back later because these lot have got loads more questions to ask the keeper.
No one in the park knows the animals better than the keepers. And they've come up with a game to test whether you're up to speed. One of the keepers is going to impersonate an animal, and you're going to have to guess which animal it is. Sound simple? Right, let's see what Keeper Stuart Jones has got for us. Let's hear that again. Is it a Moloch gibbon, a bison, a red river hog, a red panda? Tell us what it is, Stuart.
And that is a red river hog.
There is something afoot at the rhino house. 23-year-old Arusha, one of the most important breeding rhinos at the park, has been limping badly for weeks. The team suspect that she has a cracked toenail which has become infected. But they can't tell for certain because she's so irritable that it's impossible to examine her properly. Whatever it is, they will need to act immediately, since foot problems can leave wild animals lame or even kill them if left untreated. Arusha is one of 17 black rhinos that they have here at the park. She's an essential part of the breeding program, which hopes to gradually return endangered black rhinos to the wild. 3 years ago, she gave birth to daughter Nyasa, and the keepers are counting on her to have more babies in the future. Rhino feet might not look like much, only 3 toes and a bit of muscle padding, but for Arusha, they are essential. At 89 kilos, each foot takes the weight of 3.5 adult men. If one of her toes is cracked, you can bet she's in excruciating pain. Charlie Romer, the animal manager at the park, is very worried. Arusha's health can be a bit fragile, and she's prone to foot infections. This one looks particularly bad.
She's had
foot problems, ongoing foot problems for the last few years. She's had problems with her nails, big cracks in the nails, which can obviously lead to infection.
But to examine her properly, they will need to knock Arusha out. The drugs to anaesthetize a rhino could easily kill a human. We've been asked to stay outside with the keepers while the vet, Sabine Hertzberg-Merzer, goes in to give Arusha her jab.
This is really quite an aggressive species, the black rhino, and can be quite nervous. So, yeah, it's always a challenge.
Knocking out a rhino is a dangerous task. If Sabine doesn't give her enough anaesthetic, she'll wake up in the middle of the operation. But if she gives her too much, she could overheat and die.
We're confident that it'll all go well, but we never know.
The team wait nervously outside for the sedatives to take effect. After several minutes, Arusha's out cold. But Sabine will need to get on with examination as soon as possible. She hasn't a moment to lose. The team attach a device to her ear to monitor her heart rate. Rhinos can react particularly badly to anaesthetic, so they need to stay alert. After a few moments, Sabine discovers that Arusha has an abscess on her hoof, and Charlie is a bit more relieved.
Injury's looking not too bad, whereas Sabine has had a look, the vet's had a look already, and started to prod at that little abscess, where the abscesses were on the top of the hoof. Because of all the adrenaline that was used with us trying to get the animal down on the ground, she's just going to give her a little bit more sedation to keep her more sleepy while she's carrying on the operation.
The abscess has formed in a split in her nail. Sabine gives Arusha more sedatives to make sure she stays under while she treats the infection. Sabine now knows exactly what to do. She must clean the wound and trim and file the nail. Hopefully, this will be enough to encourage the nail to mend itself, while the antibiotics fight the infection. Suddenly, things take a turn for the worse.
Will you read her back temperature again, please, somebody?
Her heart rate is racing and her temperature's rising. Clearly, the second round of sedatives is just too much for her. If they can't cool her down, the operation could turn fatal. Join us later to find out if Arusha pulls through.
I'm here at the elephant paddock with keeper Dave Magner and a rather grumpy African elephant. Dave, this is Jums, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Jums?
He's going through a phase called must, where his whole way of things is changed. His temperament has changed from being a very mellow and very friendly animal. He's now not a friendly animal, but it's hard to explain. But 1 minute he'll be okay, the next minute he's highly dangerous.
So he's like a sort of adolescent, is he?
Well, I suppose you could say that.
A difficult teenager.
Yeah.
How old is Jums?
He's now 29.
Oh, so he's getting on a bit, isn't he? So, Dave, how long does the must phase go on for in a male elephant?
It can range from anything from 4 to 5 weeks, or it could range to up to 6 months. There's no definite timescale with it. You know, it comes on, and then it'll fade away. But that, you know, like I say, it could be 2 or 3 weeks, or it could be 6 months.
And is he more likely to breed during this period?
People say that when bulls come into must, they breed. He's sired 5 calves here, and all those matings, he's never been in must. So he'll breed when one of the females has come into season.
Will he? And is he more aggressive towards the females at the moment?
Yeah, he has his moments. I mean, obviously they're very wary of him and the way his temperament is, but he isn't outwardly aggressive.
No.
You know, some bulls can be very aggressive, but he's pretty mellow, really.
Well, he's massive, isn't he? I mean, he's certainly the biggest elephant. They're so much bigger than the others.
No, he's not fully grown yet.
Yeah. Well, I hope that his must phase will not go on for too long and that he gets his sort of happy moods back.
Yeah, well, we hope so.
Stay with us because we have got loads of fantastic animal action coming up on today's Raw.
Arusha the rhino struggles to survive surgery. Can the team save her before it's too late?
I'll have one of the most skittish animals in the park eating out of my hands.
And look out, there's a cat fight in the tiger enclosure.
This is the tallest animal on the planet. Their necks are 2 meters long and they can grow higher than a double-decker bus. Keeper Nick Turk looks after this group of giraffes, and for him, they are a bit special.
It's just such unusual animals, such elegant animals, and just something that's totally different to what we're used to.
Giraffes live on open savannas and are common in eastern and southern Africa, but they have been almost wiped out in the west of the continent. Giraffes have been hunted for their tails, which are used as fly swats, killed for their meat, and have been affected by the destruction of their natural habitat. Nick is on his way out into 100 acres of safari park to find his 4 giraffes. But being the tallest animals in the world, you would think they're pretty easy to find.
I want to find 4 giraffes at the moment. They're about 14 feet tall, but most of the trees are taller than them anyway at the moment. They are quite tricky to find sometimes. I mean, we go and find them, make a point of finding them 2 or 3 times a day, but you can be looking for a little while.
Still no joy. So Nick calls one of his mates.
Safari trailers.
Hello?
Have you seen the giraffe recently?
With a new lead, Nick heads off to find his giraffes, and it's not long before he spots them.
Yeah, they're just through there now. We're not far away from them. They must have been hiding behind the willow trees down there.
Feeding giraffes is not really like feeding any other animal and can be quite dangerous. So Nick does it from the back of his trailer.
Come on then. Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, it's a bit safer and you're more at their height as well, because they can kick out and they've got legs that are about sort of 6 foot in length. So you have to keep that sort of distance away from them if you can. These ones are very good anyway. They're very steady animals. Not had any real signs of aggression from them.
When you have a giraffe feeding so close, you can get a sense of just how incredible looking they are.
Well, their coats are all individual. They're the shapes of the patterns they've got. It's like fingerprints, our fingerprints. And it's basically just for camouflage.
But the most amazing thing about a giraffe is undoubtedly their 2 meter long necks.
Well, amazingly, they've got the same number of neck bones, sort of vertebrae, that we have, only they're about 10 inches long, so it's just a lot more elongated, but yeah, it's the same as us. All obviously to help with the browsing.
The giraffes are obviously happy because the female is pregnant. But Nick has his concerns about her actually giving birth.
They give birth standing up and they go feet first and just fall on the ground, really. There's no other way around it. We put a thick bed of straw down in the stall and we sort of check her every day to make sure she's not giving birth at the moment, and we look for the signs and we'll get her in hopefully and just lock her away and just wait for it to happen, really.
When it's born, the calf will be the same height as Nick, and he can't wait.
It's pretty exciting to have our first calf and hopefully get some more females in and a breeding bull, and we'll have a few more over the years.
What kind of key opens a banana? A monkey. Why did the boy chuck the butter out the window? Because he wanted to see butterfly. Why did the cat run away from the tree? Because it barks.
Life at the parks is fairly swish for the animals. They get fed regularly and live in paddocks with stunning views. Their every whim is catered to, from regular pedicures to spa days, including the odd massage. The one thing they don't have is the thrill and excitement of living in the wild. And that's why it's really important that the keepers come up with games to keep the animals stimulated. Keeper Carl Parker normally works at the Tapir House, but today he's on the African experience, and he's got something that will make a perfect toy.
We've come to collect an ostrich egg from these guys over here, but it's actually for another animal in the park. We're not going to tell you what it is for yet, though. We're going to leave it as a surprise for later.
These ostrich can be tricky customers, can't they, Carl?
First things first,
we all right here?
Yeah, they seem to be quite busy.
Found something in the back of your Land Rover.
They're quite busy.
While they're distracted, then, have you had any luck? Have you found any eggs?
I've been out since the crack of dawn, and I've managed to find an egg, so...
oh, good.
And it's lying underneath the tree.
OK, let's go and have a look,
So do ostriches lay their eggs anywhere then, Carl?
Yep, they pretty much anywhere where the mood takes them, they tend to sit down and lay an egg, so...
Wow.
Look at the size of them. They're amazing, aren't they?
I feel it.
About equivalent to 28 chicken eggs.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is one big breakfast.
That's so heavy. That's amazing.
It takes about 2 hours to boil that.
It's really tough.
Now,
very tough shell.
We're collecting this not for ostrich, for some other animal, so can we be sure that this one's not fertilised and it's all right to take it?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fresh laid this morning, so...
OK, brilliant. Shall we head back over towards the truck
I think we ought to, yes.
And Carl, are we safe as we walk over? Because the ostriches are over there.
Yeah, as long as they don't see the egg, we should be all right.
They have got the most enormously powerful legs and claws, haven't they? They look like they could do some damage.
They could do if they want to, yes.
We don't want that. Well, let's load up. And you guys stay tuned, because later in the programme, we'll be revealing just who this egg is for. Thanks, Carl.
Earlier, Arusha the black rhino was undergoing surgery on an abscess on her foot when, under anaesthetic, her temperature rocketed and her heart started racing. Rhinos don't take sedation well, and Arusha was crashing fast. The team tried to cool her by splashing her with water, but nothing seemed to work. Now it's up to vet Sabine to make some tough decisions.
Will you read her back temperature again, please, somebody?
There's no choice but to stop the operation on Arusha's foot. They will have to bring her round immediately to save her from heart failure. Sabine administers a drug to revive her. The thinnest skin on a rhino is on the underside of its tail, so this is the best place to inject her. The team wait anxiously to see if she wakes up. Arusha's temperature and heart rate have been dangerously high. Finally, she comes round, but it takes her a while to stand and she's a bit unsteady. To make sure her temperature's down, Sabine gives her another shower. She also prescribes a course of antibiotics for the infection. Arusha looks pretty good, but Sabine doesn't expect a speedy recovery.
It's going to take for her a long time to get that healed. I've had in the past one rhino where the male stuck the horn into the female's foot, and that took more than a year to heal. And it was exactly the same spot where her abscess broke open. It's just on top of the nail. And that has to all the way grow down, and that takes some time.
Will Arusha's foot heal properly? We'll just have to wait and see.
A few minutes ago, Alex and I went to collect an ostrich egg. Now we've come down to see keeper Richard Langston, who assures me that he knows some South American bush dogs who are eagerly awaiting our arrival.
There you go, Richard. Where are they?
We'll give them a call out. hopefully they come flying out, find the egg and start nuzzling it around with their heads and just start pushing it around and, have good fun with it. That's the plan.
How did you discover that they liked ostrich eggs?
Just by trying it out, basically. Like, some of the hoofstock keepers were saying they had some eggs if anyone wanted them. We thought, well, we tried them with a few of the cats, wasn't really working, didn't really that bothered by them. Just put them with the dogs and, the 3 youngsters love them.
So where should we put it?
Basically, probably the best thing to do, we'll call them out, put them on the bit of flat land there. Hopefully they come out wondering what's going on, find it straight away and, start heading it around and nuzzle it around with their nose.
Okay. So do you want me to...
Go for it. I've heard they're a bit vicious, so I'll stay back here.
Yeah, I'll come with you just in case. They can be a bit feisty when they want. Come, dogs! Yeah, if you put it there...
We know that they'll come out.
Hopefully they'll come out in a second.
Yeah, okay.
And then, they come out.
A bit of space, shall we?
Playing. Gun dogs!
So where are these dogs from then, Rich?
They're from South America, Paraguay and places like that. So, it's not overly natural for them in the wild. Obviously, you wouldn't have ostrich eggs, could they?
No.
But, it's something that we found they enjoy. So, we keep doing it because, gives them something to do for a few hours and keeps them busy for a while.
Oh, look, they've just come out for it now. That one there's just seen it. Look, is that one of the girls?
Yeah, that's one of the... That's the one that normally instigates to play and seems to get the most out of playing with it. Dad doesn't normally care too much for it. He might prove me a liar now, but generally he's not too fussed.
Is this Dad then that's just come in?
Dad's the bit of the bigger one, shall we say, putting it politely.
And you can see right at the back there, the other 2 are coming over as well.
It won't take them long, especially the 3 girls, it won't take them long to come over and start exploring and, just start banging it around with their noses and, have some good fun with it.
Will they eventually crack it open?
Eventually, it takes them normally a little while. Yeah, they're normally like logs and hard stuff. They eventually crack it open bit by bit. Normally just starts off with a little crack and then they carry on playing. Eventually they crack open and they lap up all the yolk that's inside it.
Do you think they managed to open it sort of by accident because it falls on a rock?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Most of the time they just nuzz around like that and they'll either fall off the bridge or keep hitting hard things and eventually the crack gets bigger and bigger and, just splits. And as soon as it splits a little bit where they can taste the yolk, that's when they go a bit more mad and properly crack it.
Oh, that one tried to bite it.
Dad's having a go at trying to get his jaws around it. It's probably a bit big for him to be able to manage it.
As you said, they wouldn't eat ostrich egg in their natural environment because they don't come from the same area as the ostriches, but what would they eat?
They'd eat small mammals, capybara, armadillo, stuff like that, as, lots of small rodents and various things, Yeah,
they must be formidable hunters then, because capybara are big. They're the biggest rodent in the world, I believe.
Indeed,
I mean, really, about that big. Yeah. Oh, OK, spit hair's that big.
Yeah, bigger than the bush dogs. They hunt in packs. I mean, there's been up to 100 reported in packs before, and it's a big old packs. Yes. And they just work as a team and take their prey down, so they can take prey down that's much bigger than just by sheer force.
Yeah.
And is there generally one male in a pack?
Yeah, you'd have the one male and then obviously the breeding female, and then any youngsters that were born.
You see, there's a rock down there. If they manage to roll it down the hill, we could be in luck.
It's coming this way.
Go on, doggies.
Oh, they're having great fun. Ooh.
Not quite hard enough. Oh. What are they startled by then? Is there something coming out of the egg, maybe?
Oh, yeah. They're not sure it's that log, isn't it? They're a bit worried about.
Yeah, just different things, with the way the egg's moving and...
Oh, I thought maybe there was a bit of egg coming out.
No, not from that, I wouldn't have thought.
That one's got its paw on it and
they'd
also
be very lucky, wouldn't they?
tried to take a bite.
They look like they've got sharp little teeth in there. They look like they've got quite powerful jaw muscles.
I mean, the power behind the jaws is, pretty impressive. They've got a lot of power behind the jaws.
Do you think that they know that there's food in there?
It's because they've had the ostrich eggs before. They know eventually. I mean, they quite enjoy playing with it on its own, but they know eventually after enough banging and eventually they get some nice stuff.
Well, thank you, Rich. I think they've enjoyed that. It's great to see that we've made their day exciting.
Oh, that's a terrible joke. Come on, Rich, let's make our eggs sit.
Over at the rhino enclosure, things are looking up. It's been several hours since the operation, and already Arusha is walking around in her paddock. Keeper Nick Turk is just amazed at her speedy recovery.
She's doing really well. The little abscess infection has cleared up after the operation. She's doing OK. The crack's still there, but that'll take time to heal anyway. She's looking really happy out there, enjoying the sun and the space. She's good.
She seems well on the mend from both the sedation scare and her foot abscess. It's too soon to tell whether the foot problem has been cured for good, but we'll be keeping a close eye on how she gets on. From the looks of things, I predict a tiptoe recovery.
The gorillas are one of the most popular animals at the park. Our inquisitive team are still at the Palace of the Apes with keeper Phil Ridges. They're giving him quite a go-rilling.
How fast can they run?
They can run quite fast. They can probably run as fast as a grown human, but not always for very long distances. Short distances, they're very, very quick.
Do you reckon if you gave him a bit of tissue, do you reckon he'd be able to wipe his own bum?
Jala probably wouldn't, but yes, gorillas can. They do learn things from humans. There is actually a gorilla at Howlett's called Sidoni, who was raised in a house from a very young age, and she does actually blow her own nose. You give her some tissue or a piece of cloth, she blows her nose.
So, Phil, how closely related are they to humans?
They're very closely related. About 98–99% of their DNA is the same as ours, basically.
How old do they live?
In captivity, the gorillas can live up to 50 or more, providing they're kept reasonably well and they're fit and healthy. But in the wild, be about 40, something like that, 40 years old.
How thick is their fur?
It's not very thick on the silverback's back. On their back, it gets quite bristly. It's like having your head, when you get your head shaved quite close, it's like that. If you run your hand up their back, it's quite bristly. But on their arms, it gets very, very thick, usually. And it feels a bit like, to me, I think, anyway, it feels like a bit like an Alsatian's fur. If you ever stroke an Alsatian, it's quite a shaggy hair on their arms. It's quite rough.
How big are their feet?
How big are their feet? I don't know in sort of shoe size, but bigger than most adults. They're very much like hands as well. Their big toe comes out to the side slightly, so they grip like hands do, like human sort of fingers.
Would you be able to get in with the gorilla?
I can go in with some of the gorillas, yes. Not with Jala. I used to go in with him when he was younger, but not anymore. He's too unpredictable now. He's very big to be unpredictable.
How long does their toenails go?
Well, their toenails are like our toenails and fingernails. They just keep growing, and as they grow, they break off.
So you never actually have to trim them for them, do you?
No, unless one's noticeably growing in, but then we'd have to sedate them and cut it off with using scissors or something.
How much do they eat?
Well, gorillas eat a lot. In the wild, they'll eat most of the day. That's what they spend most of their day doing, is eating. We only feed them 4 times a day here.
So they eat bamboo?
They'll eat bamboo and any sort of vegetation, fruit as well, and as leaves and bark and nuts and berries and shoots and things like that. So, yeah, they spend most of the day doing that. If they're not doing that, then they're sleeping or moving to somewhere else to go and eat and sleep.
Well, thanks very much, Phil. We've all learned loads about the gorillas. That's all we've got time for on this Ask the Keeper.
If you look high up in the tallest branches of the mountain forests of China and Nepal, you might be lucky enough to spot one of these gorgeous animals, a red panda. With fluffy orange fur and sweet faces, you can't help but want to give them a cuddle. But watch out, these are solitary animals, and they wouldn't like it if you got that close. OK, I know what you must be thinking. They look more like a cat than any panda you've seen before. But you will just have to take it from me. Giant pandas are indeed their closest relatives. If you have any further doubts, just look at how much they love to eat bamboo. The park is very lucky to have 4 of these rare animals, and keeper Neville Buck has high hopes that soon he'll hear the pitter-patter of little panda paws.
This is Lai Yi. She's a red panda, which is actually in the kitchen of the red panda house at the moment, which she shouldn't really be. Oh, here comes our boyfriend. This is Wing War. Been together for a number of years now. They have produced litters on 2 occasions. Unfortunately, with pandas, they only breed once a year anyway, so both times they've actually lost their litters of youngsters, unfortunately. Mum ran out of milk when they were about 10 days old. So, I mean, it was quite sad. She is hopefully pregnant at the moment. We did see them mating earlier this year, so we'll just have to hope that 3rd time lucky, really.
Li Yi's pregnancy is such exciting news because these animals are endangered in the wild. The natural home of the red panda is being destroyed by humans, and it is estimated that over 40% of the red panda population has disappeared in the last 50 years. Here at the park, they do everything they can to help endangered animals breed and produce healthy babies. But sometimes things don't go to plan.
It's obviously always sad when an animal loses its young, but we actually tend to have a bit of a policy where it's far more important for an animal to have a chance at raising its young and losing them. I mean, it's always sad when we do lose the babies, but we tend not to like to interfere. It's nature, it's the way things happen. If perhaps she still loses them after 3 or 4 times, then perhaps we'd look into take the youngsters away and hand raise them, but it would kind of be an extreme case, really. I mean, we tend not to interfere if we can all possibly avoid it.
So this time, Neville is giving Li Yi the best head start he can. Although red pandas love bamboo, it doesn't actually contain all the nutrients they need to be healthy. Pregnant Li Yi must eat a more varied diet to ensure her babies will survive.
The females especially here, I mean, protein, the extra protein is obviously important for them when they're perhaps raising young. So we do actually give the females, well, they get a mouse twice a day, morning and afternoon. It is actually one of their favourite foods. Unfortunately, the male tends not to get a chance to get anything like that because both females, I mean, they just go straight for the mice and they're gone. If we put 2 mice in there, they'd eat the males as well. So, yeah, it's a female thing at the moment. We've also, I mean, this year, our vets recommended the use of some herbs which actually help with lactation milk production. So we want to be giving our herbs, these herbs. I mean, we've already started on that just to make sure she will take them. We'll make sure she's getting plenty of them, and with a bit of luck, she'll have plenty of milk and be able to raise the youngster.
So, fingers crossed this pregnancy will go well, and Li Yi will get all the vitamins she needs to produce enough milk for the litter. Neville will be giving us updates on her progress throughout the series. One thing for sure, if Mum and Dad are this stunning, the babies promise to be knockouts.
Shh, we've got to be extra quiet because I'm inside the bongo enclosure. This is Head of Section Joel Bunce, and this is one of the bongo. And if we keep our voices down and don't move too suddenly, hopefully they'll stay right with us. Joel, they're fantastic. Whereabouts are they from?
They're from mainly Kenya and the Congo. There's 2 subspecies, and both are very, very endangered.
And so what are we feeding them here? They've just sort of moved away now, but can we sort of entice them back over, do you think?
Yeah, it's just a small breakfast of some spinach and bread. Bread's one of their main favourites.
They have got the most fantastic horns. Why have they got such big, twisty horns like that?
Again, mainly for defence. Most things with horns or antlers, that's their main purpose. But also they use them as tools for digging and also snapping branches off trees, and so they can reach them easier for eating.
Look at that. Now, who's this one? This one's quite confident, isn't
Yeah, this one's Rowena.
Hi, Rowena.
She's a very confident animal.
Do you want some spinach, Rowena? Let's give her a bit of that. Oh, yes, like that, don't you? Oh, yes. Oh, they've got very big tongues, actually. Noticed as she took that bit of spinach.
Yeah, they certainly have. They're quite long. They can almost sort of reach their eyes and clean their eyes with it.
Can they really? Oh, yeah, she likes that, doesn't she? And then, of course, I mean, look at those ears. They've got to be for detecting predators, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
they're pretty big.
The bigger their ears, the more they can hear, and further away they can hear.
Joel, this one's actually got a couple of cuts in its ear. What's wrong with her?
That could be a number of things. Because we're sort of into summer now, there's a lot of flies around and they tend to get bitten a lot, especially around their ears. So it's probably just a little bit of blood from that.
And then the coat is just beautiful, isn't it? With the beautiful red and then these white stripes. Does that help them to camouflage themselves against predators in the wild?
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, you'd think they'd stand out a mile, but in fact it really does blend in well. We've got quite a few trees down the bottom of the paddock, and sometimes they're almost impossible to see from distance. So it really does work well.
They look pretty identical, so how do you know which one's which?
Once you work with them a while, you tend to notice all the differences. To me, they look very different. Even just facially, they look very different. But the main things you can tell the differences are the ears. Sometimes they've got little chunks missing. Size and shape of horns. They all have very different stripes. Also, they're of different sizes.
So, Joel, do males and females have horns like this?
Yeah, they certainly do. The male horns tend to be longer and thicker, and they don't twist like the girls meet in the middle. They tend to start growing outwards and then straight up, so they're a completely different shape to the females.
And so will a male bongo be much bigger than the females?
They tend to be, yeah. Certainly they'll be about another 100, 150 kilos heavier than a female.
That's quite a lot heavier, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
What, when a bongo is born, how soon will it get horns?
They'll start growing after a few months. They'll start getting little bumps on top of their heads, and they'll start from there. Probably about 3 months, 3 to 4 months.
Joel, are you surprised how brave they're being?
Yeah, especially the younger ones. I thought they'd be a little bit more nervous, but it's good to see that they're not put off by so many people.
And it's fantastic to meet them. They're absolutely beautiful. But we've got more hungry mouths to feed, so I suppose we'd better get on. Well, it's almost the end of another great programme, and it's been full of animals of all shapes and sizes.
But not many with teeth the size of the ones we're about to see, because we've come down to the Indian tiger enclosure to hook up with keeper Rich Barnes, and it's feed time. Howdy, Rich. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good,
Hello.
good. How can we help out?
OK, well, at the moment, the two boys are in the back there, just waiting for us to let them through. Yep. I've already put their dinners in here, so basically we need to open the slides, let them out so they can come out and have their lunch.
All right, great.
So if you, Matt, want to go and open the slide...
yeah, I'd love to, OK.
Literally just pull it towards you and they'll come through.
All right.
So, Rich, the tigers, they're not fed every day, are they? So they must be pretty hungry.
No, they're fed every 4 days. I mean, we try to feed them a similar kind of thing as they'd have in the wild. They'd eat every 3 to 5 days in the wild, so we try to represent that by feeding them every 4 days here.
And tell us about the characters of these two tigers.
OK, well, that's Dell. He's come straight out and grabbed his, and he's kind of gone off. He doesn't like to be watched when he's eating, so he'll back right off and probably eat his out of the way somewhere. And the other one, Cow, should be coming out as well.
He's biding his time, isn't he, Rich? Do you think it's
he's a little bit more nervous and he'll come out in his own time, but when he does, he tends to be a little bit more jumpy.
Well, Dell's completely disappeared. He's gone. I can't even see him.
He's
oh, there he is. He's
hiding in the shade. It's amazing, isn't it, how you'd think that vivid orange and the stripes would make him stand out, but that's a perfect example of how their camouflage works, isn't it, Rich? He's sort of in the dappled shade.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, you lose him.
Yeah, they're designed to obviously be around sort of long grass, and the stripes actually break up their pattern in the long grass.
Beautiful.
Oh, here comes Cal now.
Oh.
Yeah. He might make a little bit more noise than Dell. He's a little bit more nervous.
Teeth I was talking about.
Do tigers hunt in packs in the wild, Rich?
No, they're pretty much solitary. I mean, they'll only come together usually for mating, a male and a female, and the only time you'll ever see maybe a group of tigers in the wild is if the mother's got some sort of raised cubs that are at the sort of age where they're about to kind of leave her.
Cow, come on in. It's quite unusual to see a pair of males cohabiting, but they seem very happy together.
Yeah, it is. Although here and at Howlett's for years and years we've kept groups of tigers together, usually siblings that have grown up together, and I mean, it'd be impossible pretty much to mix 2 adult pairs, if you like, together. Yeah. But because they've obviously grown up together, then they're well used to each other.
And is that noise he's making, is that a greeting to the others?
Yep, he's just fluffing there to his brother, just to kind of say, you know, you're all right. He's a little bit nervous because we had them shut out the back there before we let them back out, and I think he's trying on a bit to get some of his meal.
Bit of aggression there.
Yeah, very slowly. He says, "You're not having my dinner."
So if they are that timid, then might that be why they're so difficult to see in the wild?
It is as well. I mean, the main thing, obviously, whenever they see a human, they get shot at. So chances are, whenever they see anything remotely to do with people, they just want to get away from us.
Yes.
And so, although not everyone that goes out to see them is out to shoot them, they must have that installed fear now. So yeah, I mean, you can't really blame them for just running a mile whenever they see the people coming towards.
Here comes the other chap. Cal, is that?
Yeah, that's Cal, yeah.
He's found his bit of meat. I've seen them a few times now, Rich, but I can never get over the size of them. They're extraordinary beasts, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty big, pretty impressive.
And that coat is something, isn't it? It really does keep them well camouflaged up behind the trees.
Rich, it's amazing to see how quickly Del went through that hunk of meat with those huge teeth. I could stay here and watch them all day, but unfortunately we're out of time. So thanks very much for letting us help out.
Yes, thanks, Rich, and catch up with us again soon for more incredible animals. Take a look at what's coming up on the next Raw.
I get into a peanut eating competition with this cheeky little fellow, though I fear he may make a monkey out of me.
A pack of barking mad pups are going to get a new stepdad. But will the grumpy mutt be welcomed with wagging tails?
And we feed the hungriest animals in the whole park.